Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Simon Götzen and this is Simon Says. Our topic for today is Everything Restored Uncommons, and I have prepared something for you to chew on, and this is 3 roles I want to assign to cards in Everything Restored. And these roles are the role of the action hero, the role of the reliable friend, and the role of the underachiever. Now, 2 of these are positive, 1 of them is negative, but hopefully all of them help us to understand this format a little better. Now, let's just jump into the white cards, and I'm going to explain these roles when we go along. So, the action hero in white is certainly Gold Knight Commander. Now, what does make this card an action hero? Well, it's one guy with 1 mission, and that's to pummel your opponent into oblivion after you've dropped your aggressive 2 and 3 drops. This card does not excel in control decks. It's basically a 4-mana 2/2 in a control deck. So if you drop Angelic Wall on turn 2, you probably shouldn't have Gold Knight Commander in your deck. You can compare this to Arnold Schwarzenegger trying to do daycare, tend after children or something like that. Now, we all know that wouldn't work. So I think the role of the action hero is clearly defined in white. This card is insane in white-red aggro, for example. Now, on the other hand, the reliable friend out of these certainly good cards is Nearheath Pilgrim. This card does something great in every white deck. It doesn't matter if you are aggro, it doesn't matter if you're control, it doesn't matter if you have angels or humans, or it doesn't even matter which color you pair this guy with. It's always going to perform. It only costs 2. It's one of the rare 2-drops in this format. You can see that there isn't anybody else. So this makes it very reliable. And you could think of, well, sometimes we could call this a pillar or maybe the glue that holds something together. But don't underestimate the power level this card has. In your average white deck, Nearheath Pilgrim might even be better than Gold Knight Commander, simply because it's not as spiky. Now, the underachiever for me is Banishing Stroke, simply because it doesn't give you the amount of flexibility you want out of a removal spell. If you want to take advantage of the cheap miracle cost, you are forced to blow it once you draw it. So the mixture of high casting cost, not giving you a real option when to cast it, makes it the underachiever of white. And I don't really like it neither in aggressive nor defensive strategies very much. So let's move to blue. Now that we've established our roles, I think we can go over this a little quicker. My action hero in blue is Tandem Lookout. This guy does everything you want if everything goes right. So if you drop a Wingcrafter turn 1, if you have a blue-green Soulbound deck, if you have a blue-red aggressive deck, Tandem Lookout is what you want to have. Even in a blue-white evasive deck, a turn 3 Tandem Lookout can simply take over the game like almost no other card can. So the blowout potential combined with a very important mechanic in this format makes this my blue action hero. Now, the reliable friend for me is Fettergeist, simply because a 3/4 flyer for 3 can be put into any deck, and it's good if you draw it turn 3, it's also good if you draw it turn 7, and it's going to be good in a control deck, in an aggressive deck. The drawback can be worked around, and it's simply a very consistent, also good card. Now, the underachiever in blue for me is Nephalia Smuggler. Sadly, I really like this card, but I think that in a format which is about board impact, a card which makes a good board presence even better is not really what you want. And then there is also quite a lot of blue decks that are not that interested in a 1/1, non-evasive 1/1. For example, I think that Wingcrafter is much better. So that's blue, and let's move over to black. Black, the most difficult color in Everything Restored, and this also reflects in my picks here. Although the pick for action hero is, in my opinion, undisputed. It has to be Homicidal Seclusion, one of the more powerful limited enchantments they printed in a while, and I think everybody who has played with or against this card hopefully agrees. The pick for a reliable friend is a little more difficult, but for me it has to be Evernight Shade, simply because it works in all kind of black decks. Of course, they have to be heavy black, but that holds for almost all black cards in this format. So the fact that this has Undying and also the potential to take over a game by itself makes it very suited to black's overall strategy. And it synergizes with everything from Homicidal Seclusion to Innocent Blood to Demonic Taskmaster, and the list goes on. So this out of the way, my pick for Underachiever is kind of difficult. All of these cards aren't too bad, but I have to pick Demonic Taskmaster. I think people are overvaluing this guy. It's basically forces you to raise your opponent, simply because if you stop attacking with it, then your opponent will build up a board presence and you won't. It's also very susceptible to bounce spells or any kind of removal spell like Defang, for example. So if you've ever gotten your Demonic Taskmaster crippling chilled and you couldn't win the race whatsoever, then you know what I'm talking about. This is still a card that a lot of decks want, maybe even two of them, if they are the black deck, but be careful not to pick him up too early. Next up, red. What a fun, aggressive color, and this reflects very nicely in my pick for Action Hero. It's not one of the 3 or even 4 drops, no, it's Stonewrite. I think that this 1/1 packs such a punch that all red decks want to have this ability. Once again, it's one of the Soulbound creatures, which should come as at no surprise. It's a great 1-drop, it's good with evasion, it makes for some ridiculous, really broken starts. It's a human, which is very important for a lot of the synergies, and then it gives you some kind of late game reach and a way to utilize your mana. This is, in the red deck, this card is much better than people give it credit for. Now, the pick for Reliable Friend is Lightning Prowess. Maybe not the best card in the most insane red decks, but it's going to be great in any red deck. And if you look at the list of 1 toughness creatures, you can easily see why this card has so much potential. You can also use it as a pseudo combat trick and to burn out your opponents. What else do you want? So my pick for Underachiever in red is Falkenrath Exterminator, because I think it's too situational and people overrate him based on the games they've lost to him, but I also know the feeling that you drop him and you simply can't push through. It's true that he gets better if you have Timberland Guide or Fervent Cathar, but I don't really like how the Fervent Cathar red decks play anyway. I much prefer the other 3 drops, so this is my pick for Underachiever in red. Last but not least, green. I hope you can all point to the Action Hero. It's not Wolfir Avenger, it's Druid's Familiar. This card is the best uncommon in this format. If you drop it turn 4, it's very hard to lose, but even later it's going to add 6 power to the board. You want it in all your green decks, and it's going to be insanely good, to the point of being unfair. So all I've said also makes this eligible for Reliable Friend, and I'm just going to vote this for number 2 as well. I mean, it's called Druid's Familiar, what else could you ask for it? It's a bear, and all the other cards look so bad compared to Druid's Familiar that I don't think there is even an argument here. So with these 2 picks out of the way, I have to say that my pick for Underachiever in green is sadly enough Use Spirit. There are other cards that don't always perform the way they should. For example, Gloom Widow can be quite bad depending on the matchup, but Use Spirit is just dominated by 2 common 5 drops. Wildwood Geist and Geist Trappers, and that makes it kind of embarrassing to play Use Spirit in the first place. Also, 5 mana 3/3 is not really well positioned in this format, and I kind of feel offended by the existence of this card. So hopefully you've enjoyed this quick walkthrough all the uncommons in Adversary Restored. Hopefully I raised some thoughts and questions. Feel free to comment below and enjoy the draft. See you next time.